And welcome back, everyone, to our 3DS retrospective video. It's RIP 3DS.
Oh, I didn't go anywhere.
This time we're going to talk about all of the games that we have in a giant list for a deep dive. Obviously, this is just the tip of the iceberg with the 3DS's library. Not everything is going to be on here, but we have a list that we've made up, and if there's anything else that people want to touch down on, they can if they'd like to, where it's appropriate. It's relatively in release order by year, but it's also broken up so that each person's probably going to be talking about two games in a row, so that nobody's got stuck with like a fuck ton of games all in a row. Just to kind of even things up. We're going to start, actually, I'm going to be talking about a couple of games because they both came out in 2011 when the 3DS first came out. First one is Super Mario 3D Land, which was basically like the killer app for the 3DS when it launched.
That's not Tetris Access. Get out of here.
You didn't even put that on the list! So, in fact, you could have decided not to do Woe Dave and did Tetris instead.
But Wodave's a better game.
He's not wrong, though.
Okay. So anyway, Super Mario 3D Land was like the first major new game that wasn't a port. That was after Tetris Access, which...
God's game. That one's to you.
It was weird because like when they advertised it, they like heavily wanted to push the fact that it would take advantage of the 3D aspect, because this was early in when they really wanted to like show off the 3D effects, and it does take advantage of the 3D. It's probably one of the few games that actually does it right. It's in a style that's kind of like a hybrid of the new Super Mario Brothers games, but it's also like pseudo 3D, kind of like Super Mario 64, but it's like the worlds aren't as open because it's still like obstacle coursey. It was a very interesting hybrid, and it worked really well for the 3DS, I think, just because with a portable game you want like bite-sized levels to go through, but you also had these levels that felt a little bit more full and bigger, more explorative, at least a little bit, than like the new Super Mario Brothers game on the DS, for instance. There was a lot of nostalgia going into that game though, because like I think this was like the first game when they just started to throw a bunch of Super Mario Brothers 3 nostalgia everywhere, because we had the Tanuki return, and there's a lot of Super Mario Brothers 3 inspirations just strewn about in random places in this game. It was a good game. There's like two halves to it basically, because like you have the main game, and then there's like all like this whole section of bonus levels that come afterwards, which is half the game's levels. And it basically takes what the new Super Mario Brothers games did, where you have to get the star coins in order to unlock them, and it's... I don't remember what I was going with this, but it was basically, I know that you have to like collect basically all the coins in order to unlock all the levels, and I never actually got that far. I don't know if any of you guys did.
No, definitely not.
No.
I 100%.
I couldn't blame you.
Game.
I only got like halfway into the special worlds, maybe. I really didn't get too far into. I did beat the base game, but I didn't go much further than that.
You are all weak humans.
What?
All I have to say. As I said before, I 100% of this game. You're all weak
Oh,
humans.
Damn. I wish I 100% of the game. I got about as far as Jack did.
Disgusting. Get out of my face.
But no, and then after that we got Mario Kart 7, which... I'm trying to think what year. Mario Kart
2011.
came out. Yeah, I know. I was thinking Mario Kart Wii came out in 2008, so Mario Kart
Yep.
7 was a 3-year gap. Um, Mario Kart 7 basically just continues on where Mario Kart Wii left off stylistically. You have half the courses are new, half the courses are old. It takes a bunch of the characters from Mario Kart Wii out, but it introduces a few other ones. I know, fucking what's her face? The fucking the
Honey Queen.
the lady, yeah, Honey Queen. There we go. I was like, who am I thinking of? Metal Mario is added in. They further split up the racers into a little bit more diverse weight classes starting in this game, because I know like in Mario Kart Wii it's basically just following the whole like heavyweight, lightweight, middleweight formula. But with Mario Kart 7 we have the more modernized. There's like a cruiserweight, and then there's like a I think they call it featherweight is like the new one where it's like even lighter than lightweight, and then there's the lightweight, and then there's middleweight. So they started diversifying things a bit more. They also introduced the concept of having different parts to your cart. So they introduced the paraglider in this game. So you could choose your paraglider, you could choose your cart, and you can choose your wheels. And they affect your stats in different ways. So you had more customization options starting in this game. Mario Kart 7 also brought back the coins for racing, right?
Yep.
Yep, alright. Did you guys want to mention anything about Mario Kart 7 at all?
This game has the best track.
I was about to
Rainbow
mention
Road.
that actually. Yeah. We used to play this on Nintendo a lot. We would have, didn't we have like a room or something? Or like a
Yeah.
server?
We did for a while.
Yeah. That was fun. You know, it's a good Mario Kart. It's not one of my favorites, but it's still a fun time. And it's, yeah.
I used to play this with people from Nintendo Force. Nintendo Forums. Holy God, hell, fuck Luigi's Mansion's course on that, because that's what one dude would always pick. And so,
The
in
DS
response,
one?
yeah.
Yeah.
In response, I always pick Super Nintendo Rainbow Road, which is why I'm really good at the game. Like, specifically that course.
I remember one big thing about the game is that if you were playing alone, you couldn't pick just like single races. Like single courses rather. You'd have to play like the whole cup if you wanted to like play a particular track by yourself, which was kind of lame. And also they dropped Waluigi for no good reason.
Screw him. We have Wiggler now.
Wiggler is a good addition, but we didn't need the Honey Queen.
Yeah, but we have Wiggler.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yes, moving on, we're going to have Landon take the floor to talk about Resident Evil Revelations, where I believe Justin will be able to join him if he feels so necessary.
Oh. So.
It's that game we LP'd.
Hey, no, shush. You get out of here. You weren't part of the Gaming Stooges at this time, so you have to leave.
The Royal We.
Oh. You have to leave this time. Also, Cloud has to leave because he wasn't part of that LP. It's just Justin and I, alone, in a room, together. Oh. Anyway, Capcom was like, so number 6 is coming out, or whatever. Nintendo's got a popular handheld. Fuck it, make a thing for that. What's popular? Resident Evil 4? Yeah, that's still popular.
Monsters.
Yeah, Aquatic Monsters. Yeah, make something with that. And so they did, and it's fucking great. Resident Evil Revelations. Huh?
Oh, I'm convinced they came up with the aquatic aspect after playing a really hardcore game of Seaman.
Probably. They were
I thought
like,
you were going to say Echo the Dolphin.
that
No.
too. God. God, both of those games. And a couple Big Bertha levels in Super Mario Brothers 3. I'm sticking to that. Anyway, Resident Evil Revelations is a beautiful pairing of sort of that older style Resident Evil game in terms of like tank controls, and like the more horror aspects of Resident Evil with a flavoring of Resident Evil 4, not so much 5. The game takes place, well, there's a bit of 5. I mostly say not as much 5, but then I look at people that you play as that's not Jill, and it's more Resident Evil 5-ish. The game takes place between Resident Evil 4 and 5, surprisingly, and it's sort of a side story, which they never touched on the ending of this game in any other game. Considering there's a sequel to this, that seems like a big, and it introduces a new set of villains. It introduces a new new disease or whatever. They want to turn people into water zombie fish things. Who knows? No one knows what a news is. No one knows what a skagnet is either. Not even me. And it feels like an old school Resident Evil. Tight corridors while you're going in through the cruise ship. Just that sort of tanky control works well with the 3DS. I know a lot of people at launch were like, I can't play this game because I'm terrible at life. And I'm like, yeah, you are. There's an option to use like motion controls for it because there's the gyroscope built inside the 3DS. A lot of people, like, this was the reason why they got the Circle Pad Pro, which is that abomination of a bathtub that you can attach to the bottom of your 3DS. Yeah, that was a thing. Now, I played this entire game. I LP'd it on the fucking Kid Icarus Standy without that thing. So, anyone who says they can't play this game without that, they can fight me in IRL. The game's beautiful. Capcom, like, pushed the 3DS's limits of the original models. And, with the cutscenes look phenomenal. Set pieces look great. There's a lot of good bits to it. Blah, blah, blah. It's fantastic. The only thing it's missing is Mercenaries mode. Why is there no Mercenaries mode?
I mean, I thought that thing where you,
They had raid mode.
Yeah, there was...
Raid mode's not Mercenaries mode, though. I mean, it's good. It's not Mercenaries mode.
Well, that one I think is built a little differently because Mercenaries is basically, it puts you kind of like almost like in an arena, and then you just murder things until you either run out of time or you actually like do it.
Yeah, raid mode has you going through like a challenge bit of go through this small section of the game and see how quickly you can do it with killing as many things as you can, which is okay.
Actually, the funny thing is that while he says it's not Mercenaries mode, which it technically isn't, it's actually more like the Mercenaries mode from like Resident Evil 2 and well, it kind of started with 2. It wasn't really called Mercenaries mode though, but it started with 3, which was Mercenaries mode used to be a very short section where you ran through a small part of the game from the main game. And you basically had to get to the end before you ran out of time. That's basically what raid mode is. It's the classic Mercenaries mode.
Yeah.
All right. I'm pretty sure you guys just wrapped up everything.
Yes.
All right. Next game is going to be mostly Jack starting this off, but I'm sure Landon's going to have a lot to add to this one. We got Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Alright, bitches. It's time for the best game.
Fuck off. This game sucks. It stole...
No, fuck you. This game is amazing.
80 hours of my life that I
This game This game stole 500 hours of my life, and it continues to do so.
Jesus.
I still play Animal Crossing New Leaf like at least once every few days.
I mean,
in
I would,
2019.
but it stole my save file.
Yeah, rip. That is understandable.
That's why I want to destroy this game's internals.
This I've been playing this game for so fucking long that it's like just a part of my life now.
It's attached to a
Yeah.
That's a conjoined
This came out in like June of 2013.
2012.
2013.
2013?
Yep.
Oh, wait, yeah, no, it was early 2013. We're already in the 2013 section, that's right.
We're
There's a lot of 2013 games on our list.
We're not actually. This is supposed to be a bit later. Oh well, that's fine, whatever. We're going by like release order, but like
Like I said, I moved some things around.
Okay.
I just didn't realize how many 2013 games there are.
Yeah, so this game is really fun. You know, it's Animal Crossing. That's, you know, it's not for everyone, but if you love Animal Crossing, it's like it's the best one, and I don't really see how you could say otherwise. The villagers the villagers have like very varied like talking points, as opposed to the previous game in the series where like they'll just say the same thing over and over again until you go up to the city, which takes like forever, and then go back, which takes forever. So yeah, it's just like it. I don't know, man. It's this game is just fun. It's wholesome, fun Animal Crossing. Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's not a super pain in the ass like contract bound to your life to pay off your mortgage this time, because there's like a kind of a workaround if you so choose. And it just has like all of the best aspects of like all of the previous games in the series like rolled into one game. And it even like got an update like as late as 2016, which added like amiibo interaction with like the fucking cards that they released, as well as the amiibo they released with Amiibo Festival, and also like the campsite dealio. I never really did much with that, but it's there.
You can get Ganon in your game now.
Yeah. Put Ganon in your Animal Crossing town. Yeah, no, it's like, you know, it's not a thing for everyone, but it's most definitely my thing, and I love it to death.
Landon, you want to add anything?
Fuck this game. I just want my completed fossil museum again. Why did it go away? Why did you have to take it all away from me?
Sorry, Landon.
Why?
So the main reason I put this so early was it gave Landon and Jack a game in common to talk about, but now we've got a couple more games for mostly Jack. The first one being Kid Icarus Uprising.
Oh, hey, I played this game.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, didn't you play this one, Landon?
Yeah, I fucking beat the story. I unlocked like half the shit in the stupid Smash Brothers panels, and I played a shit ton of online.
Yeah, I didn't really touch the online very much. But like I guess in that regard, you played this game even more than I did.
Probably.
This game is great. Honestly, this is like one of the most underrated 3DS games. Like hardly anyone talks about it, and like a lot of people are turned off by it because the controls are kind of weird. And it's like they're not bad, but like they do take a little bit to get used to, which is kind of the whole reason they like threw in the stand so that like your hand don't cramp. But otherwise this game has like great characters. The game is fully voice acted actually, which is like I think it was the first No, Star Fox 64 was the first one to be fully voiced, but it's the first game since then. Actually no, there were other Star Fox games that were fully It's either way, it's not a common thing for Nintendo games to be fully voice acted, and this one is, and it's great. The gameplay is fun, on-rail shooting, plus like 3D beat 'em up, hack and slash type deal. and it's just a good time.
All right,
Say-
moving on to the next
well,
game.
does
Oh.
Landon want to say anything?
The online was basically just the hack and slash part of the game, because it's hard to do that.
Can't
Yeah.
really do the on-rail shooting
Yeah.
online.
Yeah, but no, it's hella dope. You could unlock your different weapons, and then you would just get the one with that makes the tornadoes, and then fuck with people.
That's why they made that
claws.
an item in Smash Brothers.
Yep. That's it. That's all I
Okay.
have to say on that.
Moving on to the next game, Jack's going to talk about Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward, and coupling in this is Zero Time Dilemma.
Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward. They didn't actually. I'm not sure if they had I don't think they had named it the Zero Escape series because I think at the time. Either way, this is.
It didn't really seem to have a series name because when I was looking into it, they also had 9 persons, 9 hours, 9 doors included in this series.
Yeah,
That's the
9
first
hours,
one.
9 persons, 9 doors was the first game in the series. It was released on the DS in, I want to say 2010.
Yeah.
I want to say. And then it was great, and it was really good game. So they made a sequel, and then they made it a series. Virtue's Last Reward is like the first game, but if you're not familiar, is a visual novel slash escape the room puzzle game with a really, really good story of I guess you could call it a murder mystery with tons and tons of branching pathways and different choices to make that put you down a different story path with some pretty great characters. And you can what's great about it is that you don't have to start from the very beginning of each path to start a new one. You can just go to the fucking because they have a flow chart of all the paths and choices that you can make, and you can just teleport right to a choice and make the different choice that you made previously. And it's really convenient in that regard because otherwise the game would be a lot longer than it already is. If you're going for all the endings, it's like a 30-hour plus game. But yeah, it's a really, 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 really good story. I really enjoyed it. The sequel, Zero Time Dilemma, is a midquel between the first game and the second game, and it's probably the worst game in the series, but it's still a pretty good one. I just kind of threw it in here because I figured, it's on the 3DS as well. May as well just give a quick mention to it. Yeah, again, not as good as the first 2 games, but it's still a fun time. If you enjoy the first 2 games, you'll probably like it enough. But it's yeah, it's more or less in the same vein as the other games in the series. Only instead of being a visual novel, it's actually fully animated cutscenes this time around. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it. It's still good, but not as good as the other 2.
All right. Next game in this little list. We might actually be splitting this up into multiple videos because, good lord. Justin, you're going to talk to us about Rune Factory 4.
Okay. Forte is best girl. Okay, now that we got the important thing out of the way, let's talk about the smaller things. So
Now wait a second. No, you're
What?
right. Okay, continue.
now if any of you people are bored of Harvest Moon for whatever reason, because I mean you kind of need that game for this game to exist. This is basically that, but with more hurdy, because now you can smack things around with weapons and shit. It's just pretty much Harvest Moon in a fantasy setting with actual combat and RPG mechanics. It plays pretty much exactly the same as a Harvest Moon game, besides those specs. It's a little bit more anime than Harvest Moon, because Harvest Moon was not like, what's the word? Not like westernized or anything, like nothing like that. But they weren't like, it wasn't obvious that it was extremely Japanese. Rune Factory is just straight up anime, right down to the sprites and shit. Everybody looks anime as fuck. Rune Factory 4 is actually a little bit more toned down compared to 3, where everybody was so trope heavy that was basically their whole personality. Rune Factory 4 tries to make them a little bit more, like real people. But a lot of the Rune Factory, like, mainstays are still there for any of you that have actually been with the series since maybe even the first game. And you have, like, rune points are basically is replacing stamina, like how it was in Harvest Moon, since you'll actually be using a lot more of it, since you'll be because fighting also drains your rune points, since that's a thing now. So they kind of had to like give you a little bit more stamina than usual because of the fact that you're going to be out there in dungeons and shit. So your stats can kind of be a little ridiculous in Rune Factory 4. I can't really say a whole lot about the game besides, just the fact that it's just Rune Factory. I mean, it's Harvest Moon, a fantasy setting. Because that's really all it is. I mean, if you like that kind of thing, it's fine, I guess. I like it. I kind of like Harvest Moon. I'm kind of on and off on it, depending on what the game is. But I definitely think Rune Factory 4 is something you should play at least once to see if you like it. If you don't like it, that's fine. But if you don't like Harvest Moon, I think this is a good alternative.
All right. The next game, Justin's going to be leading us on this one, but to some degree, we can all be pitching in here. Although there's 2 games listed here, grouped together, it's probably safe to bet that we'll at least mention the third. But it's Fire Emblem. All of them on 3DS, basically. Mostly Awakening. We're going to talk about Echoes. But if we want to touch down on Fates, that's an option as well. But Justin, you can start us off with this. Since you spent, 1,500 hours on Awakening? Flex those muscles, because here's where
flex your muscles!
A lot of that was just skill grinding, really, and support grinding. But yes, the game I played is my first 3DS game, and the game I wouldn't stop fucking playing.
You're welcome.
Obviously, everybody knows Fire Emblem at this point, but Awakening was basically the make or break game, because if this game fucked up, that was pretty much it for the series. But it didn't fuck up, even though a lot of people like to complain about it. But I think that's just because they made it easier than other Fire Emblem games, and now all the hardcore people are really pissed off because they're giant faggots. But I liked it. I mean, the first playthrough was honestly my favorite because I was, fresh to the story, and I thought it was, pretty fun. I admit, multiple playthroughs, you kind of look at the story, and I guess there's a few things that kind of fall apart, and some things that just seem kind of weird. But I don't think it detracts from the game. It's just something you notice a little bit more if you played it more than once, which I have many times. And this is also the game that started the whole the waifu wars, because there was never really a big emphasis on who you would marry, because most of the characters from older games would they had like a set partner, essentially. This one is actually a lot like Genealogy of the Holy War, if anyone has ever played that, where you can actually pair up people together without any kind of like defaults getting in the way. And that's mostly just for making broken as shit kids, because the kids inherit everything you have, and they also have like broken stats. So if you get the right shit together, you can make some like gods of destruction. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's all I could really say about it.
Eddie, what would you like to say about Fire Emblem Awakening?
Fire Emblem fucking Awakening.
Fire Emblem fucking Awakening.
The game that gave us Owain, the greatest character in gaming history.
Down, Sword Hand!
Is that the game that made Kaiji Tang really popular?
No one knows. There's no way to know. The game is excellent from a strategy RPG side of things. It nails it. It has some balancing stuff, so people that aren't great at strategy RPGs, especially like the tactical shit like Fire Emblem or like Advance Wars or Fire Emblem Tactics. If you're not really great at those, you know, especially since it has permadeath and everyone dies if you suck. So that's cool, I guess. I mean, I always just restart and get good rather than live with my mistakes, because living with your mistakes is what I do in the real world, and I'm playing a video game. Where else do I want to go with this? It's really good. It's a solid title. It's really good.
And it's good.
Jack, did you want to add anything?
Nothing really that I can add that hasn't already been added.
I played Fire Emblem Awakening as my first Fire Emblem game. I appreciated the fact that it had mode to avoid the permanent death, because that was one thing that always turned me off to playing Fire Emblem. Was I don't want to have to reset my game over and over again just to beat a level and not have everybody die. But I also like strategy RPGs. Like, I'm no stranger to them. I've played Disgaea, I've played Final Fantasy Tactics, so like Fire Emblem was something that I would like to get into. I just didn't want to have to deal with the permadeath. And having a mode that basically, you know, there's no permadeath, and it was nice because I really, really enjoyed the characters and the story of Awakening. It's, of the 3 Fire Emblem games that came out on the 3DS, it's still my favorite. So there's that. It was me, Landon, and Justin's game of the year for 2013. All 3 of us. So it's set. That should mean something.
You mean both of you?
I don't get it.
Runner 2 was my game of the year that year.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, that came out that year too?
Yeah.
Damn, I thought Runner
filthy
2
casual.
I thought Runner 2 was a different year.
Nope.
My bad. All right. Did anybody want to say anything about either Fates or Echoes, since we're on the topic of Fire Emblem?
Shadows of Valentia. You mean the other Fire Emblem game that came out it was the remake of number 2 that God knows no one played, especially people in Japan.
I like the fact that Echoes is like fully voiced, and the voice acting for it's really good.
I like that they do the whole, you can dungeon explorer.
Yes, that too.
Hey, you know what kind of gets old is playing over the same maps. You know what you can do now? You can walk. You want to walk through a town? Fuck you. You can walk through a dungeon? Hell yeah, you can do that.
I hope that they incorporate some of that stuff into Three Houses.
Probably not. No. God, they won't. They can't.
Why? Because that would make Three Houses too good?
Probably. Probably.
I only have two. I only have 2 things to say about Fates. One is what you call it? Takumi is literally the worst thing to ever exist in the entirety of ever.
But we had Owain again.
Well, yeah, but this is Takumi. I'm saying why he's such a piece of shit.
I know, but in Fates' defense, might have introduced the worst character, but we got the best character again.
Jack, did you want to add anything about either of the other 2 Fire Emblem titles?
I still haven't played Echoes, and Fates is good.
My problem with Fates is that they recycled way too many characters from Awakening. Like
3?
The story... Even
And by I mean they brought over 3 characters, and they only explain that story if you play revelations.
But I also feel like they had a lot of it. I mean, I haven't played enough Fire Emblem to really say, but I feel like even some of the characters that were new characters were still somewhat inspired by characters from Awakening.
That's
Which are
literally every
probably
Fire Emblem
in
game.
yeah.
It's fine for me
It's
because I
just
got Thursday twice.
I was okay with the story of Fates. I didn't really like the execution though.
I think the kids are ham-fisted. That's a little bit much. Like
But
they
your
literally have a
waifus. You have to
hyperbolic.
have your
They have a
waifus.
hyperbolic time chamber. Oh, but before I was rudely interrupted,
Whatever. Bite me.
the second thing I just wanted to say is, I understand why they did it, but like casual mode, okay, that's fine. I understand that there are people that can't really play Fire Emblem that well and don't like to just watch them die constantly. That's
Me?
fine. Phoenix mode is pussy mode.
That's so bad. It's like literally that's the game mode you give to a 6-year-old. And then again, who the fuck's gonna be 6 years old playing this game?
Like, I don't care at all. I honestly feel like if you play on Phoenix mode, you are a pussy. Because you literally, unless there's an extra defeat condition, you literally cannot lose a battle.
Cannot
because
lose.
I think they take out, what is it? You lose if Corn goes down, I think it was. And
Yeah.
that doesn't happen.
No,
because
not Corn. Oh wait, no. Are we talking about Fates or are we talking about Awakening? Because
No,
Awakening
Fates.
it was
Fates
yeah.
is the
Oh,
one that
okay.
has Phoenix mode. Because every time you lose somebody, like casual is one thing. Because if you lose somebody, you don't get them for the rest of the battle. That's fine. Phoenix mode revives everybody the next turn after they die, which means you cannot lose, no matter what you do. Like, that is too easy. That is
Unless
too
you
much.
literally somehow lose all of your units in one turn.
You
Or
have to be really bad to do that.
Or like I said, there has to be a second defeat condition. But because your characters keep reviving every turn, you could literally just blitzkrieg the map and just win by constantly pestering the enemy with suicide units until they eventually die. But that's all I have to say about that.
That's
Casual
what
is
I
one
like
thing.
about Echoes is I forget if that's modes in there or not because I don't pay attention to any of the casual modes. But they introduced the turntable thing where you can turn back time a couple turns, and then you can redo it. So if you make a mistake, you don't have to fucking reset your entire game. You can just
I did like that.
do that. And they limit the number of times you can do that per map.
Oh god, they have fucking... It's Prince of Persia Fire Emblem Edition?
Yeah, basically.
Alright, if that's everything that we need to get out of our systems about the Fire Emblem titles,
Yeah, that's good.
Landon, talk to us about SteamWorld Dig.
SteamWorld Dig is the Metroidvania we never got on the 3DS until they remade Metroid for Samus. Which is good because they didn't put a Metroid game on the 3DS until they remade Metroid Return to Samus. Except it's not, it's set up a little different. So you will robot, and you will mine and robot. You're a robot who goes into the mines to mine for gold, because you're a robot. Catch that? Good, because it gets a little bit crazier after that. So there's the Metroidvania bit, because the mine, you have to dig through the mine to kind of find your power-ups. There's power-ups, and then you will go back to town to, sort of throw your money at, additional power-ups. There's a lot of power-ups. There's, hovers, additional pickaxes, this and that, bosses that are pretty fun. It's a pretty short game. It was a digital title originally for the 3DS, and it looks beautiful. They did a really good job with that. Everyone should buy a SteamWorld Dig. Or SteamWorld Dig 2 for the Switch. I don't care.
Alright. That's it?
That's all I have to say on that.
Okay. We're gonna do probably a couple more, and then we'll have to split this because this is wow. We've talked so much about the game so far. Jack, talk to
Hi.
us about Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon.
Excuse me. Okay. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon was the long-awaited sequel to the original Luigi's Mansion, which is something that a lot of people thought we would never get. I think that's what people thought. I don't know. Either way, it's a bit different from the original in the sense that it's instead of exploring just one mansion, you explore several. And instead of just kind of being a free roam, like explore the mansion type deal, it's like the game is more like mission and level based than previously. Which is fine in its own right. I mean, the game is actually very well made, and it's a very fun time. I think I prefer the original a little bit more, but it's it's definitely a good addition to
It's built for handhelds.
Yeah, it's built for handheld play. It's like it's
I
like
heard it's like it's more bite-sized, like arcade style kind of.
Not quite, but it's definitely like there's definitely going to be like more opportunities to save than in the first game, where you pretty much have to go out of your way to find a toad to talk to so you could save your game. God, it's been a while since I've played it, so I'm going based on like memories of me playing it in like 2013. There was that like rainbow flashlight thing. Is that right?
Yeah.
What was it called?
I don't know. You're asking.
I don't know. That was a neat mechanic. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like the game is fun. It's I like the idea of exploring different mansions. And it's got good boss fights too. The boss fights in it are fun. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
All right, moving right on to the next one then. Jack, you're still going to be with us introducing this next part, but we got A Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds, and we'll fit a little bit of discussion on the two remakes of the N64 titles in here as well.
The Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds is a quote-unquote sequel. It is a sequel
to
A Link to the Past. It's very, very similar to A Link to the Past. It's definitely made, it uses the same map, so, I mean, it's a good, like, top-down Zelda game, and it was, like, it was the first one in actually, Spirit Tracks was only, like, 4 years before, but either way, it was just, like, purely, like, explore, just like Link to the Past, although I like the two main mechanics that were added into the game was the painting mode, where like you become a painting on the wall and kind of traverse locations in that way, and it like just flows really well into the gameplay, and like they find really like unique ways to use it, like using it on the shield of a boss. And on top of, and also is the item renting system, where you can like the purple dude Ravio, I think is his name.
Ravioli.
I don't remember. Ravioli. Let's call him that.
Yeah.
Where he will rent you a few items at a time, and it's like it's a neat mechanic.
You can buy the item from him as well.
Yeah, but like to start, it's pretty much just renting. But either way, it's a good game, and I really enjoyed it. You have anything you want to add, Landon?
The only thing is the difficulty curve on the dungeons, because it's freeform and you can tackle them at any point. They're all pretty middle line of the road in terms of difficulty. This is sort of also
Yeah.
true of Breath of the Wild, because you can tackle the 4 shrine animal thingies, and they're all kind of like, eh. Whereas other Zelda games can actually push you, with specifically the dungeons. Breath of the Wild gets away with it, with the little shrine challenges. But this game, the bosses are like sort of more your challenge and like figuring that out. But if you've played the original A Link Between Times, I will now call it A Link to the Past, you pretty much know what you're in for the most part. They change up some of the bosses, and the final boss is really fun. But yeah, it's a good game. You should buy it. Please buy it. Play it for me, please.
Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are good remakes of good games.
But Majora's Mask is better.
Well, of course, but
Them's fighting words.
Yeah.
Bring it. I'll win.
That's a hill that's a hill I'm gonna die on. Majora's Mask is the better game. But anyway, there's nothing really like particularly much to say about them. Like the graphics are nice.
They basically they brought them over with everything intact, including all the glitches. Like they were like, technically these are remakes by coding definition, but it almost feels like ports because they left everything alone. But it's good because they're good games. They didn't need any changing. If you like playing them on a home console, you'll like being able to take it with you on the go.
One thing I will say is that I do like that the 3DS version of Majora's Mask actually has proper saving at the owl statues.
Thank God.
Yeah, which was a thing that was not available in the original game. I imagine it's for the sake of it being a handheld game, but like in the original game, the only way to do a proper save was to like play the Song of Time and completely restart from morning of day one. Like the owl statues were quick saves, but like that was it. Like in the 3DS version, they are proper saves, and it's much more convenient that way.
Mm-hmm.
I like the 3D effect implemented into Ocarina of Time. It makes the visuals pop a little more. Where, to be honest, by 2011 standards, the visuals had gotten kind of bland without the 3D effect. It's actually one of the games where I actually used the 3D a lot in. That's basically all I have to say about that.
Justin,
What? What'd I do?
you threw Jack in the fire.
Did I?
Oh my God!
Oh,
it was
yeah,
me.
I remember
Never
now.
mind.
But actually, there's a few times where we threw him, and he ricocheted off of the fucking fire rings, and then went into the lava.
Triforce Heroes was also a game.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
fun multiplayer game.
Yeah, it's not worth playing if you don't have people to play it with, but if you do have people to play it with, then go for it.
Yeah, because it needs you, someone to help you, and someone to throw in the lava.
Yeah.
Item!
Item.
Item!
Item. Item.
Totem, 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 totem.
Item. Pom 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 pom.
Anyway.
So we're gonna do 2 more games for this part. and
Oh
we're gonna
God,
do
probably
part-
not. We should probably cut it here.
No, because after those 2, it'll be like 13, so it'll be an even half and half, basically.
Christ, look at the time. Okay. Fine.
Just 2 more, Landon. These are yours anyway.
Oh, Jesus
So you have
Christ.
control. Besides, you get to wrap up this part on like one of the best games that you could possibly talk about.
Miiverse?
So we'll start with basically. We'll start with Shin Megami Tensei 4 though.
SMT4 and 4 Apocalypse?
Yes. Tell us about that first, and then you can tell us about the other game.
SMT4 and SMT4 Apocalypse are main series SMT games where you go into Japan after it got nuked or something. God, Japan got nuked.
Again.
But this time I don't know, Japan's writers did it. Who who knows? Anyway, what happens is you wake up on the crust of the shield of what protected part of Japan. I don't know, because it's still got nuked and demons are running around in it. Where God's people live, and you become a samurai. This is the first game, specifically, SMT4, not the spiritual follow-up in a weird timeline, which is Apocalypse. Anyway, from there, you begin your training as a samurai, which is people who are pretty strong, I guess. Okay. And then you go down in the depths of hell and fight the demons. And then eventually you go so far down, you find other people, and you're in Japan. And specifically Tokyo. And you go, hey guys, and they're like, oh no, you're clean. And you go, oh no, unclean ones. And yet, there's something fishy going on, as all SMT games. And blah, blah, blah. Eventually, you fight God and the devil himself. Lucifer. Yeah, I think it's Lucifer in this game. And everyone's happy in the end, because you got the neutral route. Does that make sense? Is everyone still following? Alright,
Yes.
Now, you got the neutral route in the last game. But there's this little punk kid who dies, and some other demon god is like, I'm gonna revive you. Now it's an alternate timeline, because that happened. And that's SMT4 Apocalypse. And that creates you can create your own universe at the end of that game, because, I don't know, who's skipped ahead? Probably you guys, because you're reading the cliff notes by listening to me. Anyway, the games are like RPGs. I guess that's what people call these type games. Is that what they call them, Jack?
Yeah.
Okay, they're RPGs apparently, according to people. And you recruit your demons and your angels and your other bits and boobs and giant penises, and you force them to attack other, demons and angels and other bits and boobs and other giant penises. Also, you fight. Also, you have friends that fight for you, except not really, because they suck. It happens more in the other one, SMT4 Apocalypse, than the first one. It's turn-based, like a good old-fashioned RPG should be. You can walk around and, random encounters. Except on the overworld, where you're a bunch of pixels, and it's Tokyo, and enemies you fight are a bunch of pixels. It's weird. The games are good. They're hard. They're SMT hard. They're my introduction to the series. I played SMT4 first. That was my first SMT game, and then kind of went down the rabbit hole from there. It was fun. They're good games. They're hard. Music's good. They're hard. Anyway, Tomodachi Life is a game.
Yes.
But instead of talking about that, I'm going to rip that game out of this list, and we're going to talk about Miitopia, God's gift to gaming.
Alright, it's your slot. Do what you want with it.
Just kidding. Tomodachi Life is a sim game where you create Jack.
Hi.
You create him, and then you make a waifu character, Lexine.
Oh.
And you put them both in an apartment building with Justin, Reggie Fils-Aimé, Darth Maul, other friends, co-workers, and celebrities, and fictional characters, and then they make kids or whatever, and they do have goofy dreams, and there's, mini games and stuff. That's literally it. That's Tomodachi Life. Surprisingly fun for the shallow amount of content available. It's $20. You should probably buy it and have a little bit of fun with it. That's the end of that. We should probably cut the video.
Yeah.
Probably
so we got
probably 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. we've got like another half of the games list to go through, so we will see you in the next part.